Now that we have completed our servo wiring, next step is to go through the servo setup on the FlexFit controller. The first step in setting up your servos is to address your servos, and to do this we will need to remove this black cover. And to know which address corresponds to which servo, that is dictated by how they are connected into the servo connection box. As we explained earlier, there are 6 servo connections labeled A through F. So A corresponds to servo address 0, B to servo address 1, C to address 2, and so on. So in this case, this servo being connected to A is address 0. So underneath the servo cover, you will see 3 push buttons, one labeled counterclockwise, one labeled clockwise, and one labeled 0. You also see an indicator and a jumper. So to change the address at the servo, you first want to remove this jumper and then hold down on the 0 button. And you'll notice that you now have 3 LEDs blinking. This means that you can now change the address of the servo. So to do this, you will use the counterclockwise and clockwise buttons and use the indicator to see what kind of or which address you currently are on. So right now we currently have address 0. We can change that by pressing clockwise to go up or counterclockwise to go down. And we already said that we want to have this address 0. So we like that. We'll exit and put the jumper back on. So now that we have set up the addresses on our servos, we want to make sure that those addresses match up in the controller. So to do this, we will go to the touchpad. We will hit the menu button, which is going to be the up and down arrow keys. And now we will scroll down to Setup. Press Enter. Scroll down to Servo Setup. Press Enter again. Then you go into Configure Servos. And now you'll see 2 things on this screen. You have a number that's going to correspond to your servo address number. And then function, which right now is saying fuel 1 valve. So right now we have servo 0 set up as fuel 1 valve, which is, we can verify and check is correct. But if we did want to change that, we could go scroll here, press enter, and then go to whichever function you need, fuel 2, combination of fuel 1, fuel 2, and so on. And this is so that the controller knows what that servo is actually doing. So press enter. Once you've set address 0, you can continue on to address 1. And then do the same thing, set up the function, let the controller know what's going on. And then go to address 2. And then just do this for all the servos that you have.